Hi,
Yeah, me too,
Colin.
me too.
Welcome to Forward Joy.
Thank you, Chrissy. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so excited to talk to you today, especially because
Likewise.
I got a reading from you for the first
Oh,
time this year, and it was
yes.
so special.
Thank you.
You know, I have a lot of astrologers in my life, and everyone like
Please,
really brings a little,
a flavor.
something different. Yes, a different
Yeah.
flavor. And I really love yours because you always
Thank
have
you.
this like historical context, the book, like you're well read, which I love. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, I see you and I feel like you see me and
Yes.
I
From one cat moon
agree.
to another. That's really what it
Yes,
is.
I
It's like
know.
everybody get to work.
Exactly. Okay, let's take it back to the very beginning.
Sure.
What were you like as a child?
Don't make me cry, Pisces, 2 minutes in, because I just decided to frame a picture of a childhood picture of me, and I'm just like in that inner
Oh,
child healing. To be very honest with you, it's exactly who you're talking to now. I wasn't taking anything too seriously. I talked way too much,
mm,
constantly into metaphysics and spirituality from the
yep.
beginning. Yeah, my family, my friends can corroborate that. And also too, just deeply invested in the well-being of my loved ones.
Yeah.
I can claim that as well. I have a Mars in Cancer, so
Okay.
I yeah, deeply engaged with my aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, my twin sister, my brother. So honestly, not a lot has changed.
Oh my God. I thought you had a twin, which is so funny because I also
Yes.
just interviewed someone earlier this week for my newsletter that goes out
Oh,
in 2 weeks, and she's also a twin.
a Gemini
Dr.
too?
No,
Okay, that's all right.
oh,
Still counts.
yeah, I forgot what she
Yeah,
is.
because I'm a Gemini twin, which is fucking weird.
Oh my God, I love it. I
Can I
love
curse,
it.
by the way?
Yes, of
Okay,
course.
okay,
Of
okay.
course.
Come on, we're New
Absolutely.
Yorkers.
Um, so how did you decide to start studying astrology? Because like I
Mm,
loved it too, but I don't know, the monthly horoscopes in the back of like 17 magazine apparently was enough
yes.
for me. I never really like investigated it further until like my
Yeah.
20s,
Yeah.
really.
Well, and that also tracks with the advance of technological scaling, right? Because as we were growing up, we only had most like the horoscopes in the back of the magazines or, women's media too, actually, primarily. Thank you, Christopher Renstrom, my astrology godfather, who helped me understand that. But I think I started really actually because of my mother, because
Mm.
she had always loved astrology. There's this incredible picture of her in my grandmother's house, which was her childhood room at the time. She was about 11 or 12. And there's this glow in the dark velvet poster of the zodiac sign Cancer behind her.
Oh.
And I actually have been working in that room a lot when I've been nomading. So it's just weird that she had that poster there. And then,
Mm-hmm.
40, 50 years later, her son would be doing it professionally.
Right.
Yeah, ancestral power, right? So I would say it started with her because she just sort of had it in our family vocabulary. She didn't know about the moon or the rising sign. She just knew sun
Right.
sign astrology primarily. She read
Of
Linda
course.
Goodman's sun signs, and it was a whole part of the deal. And then when she had a pair of Gemini twins, she was like, "Oh, I'm convinced." And then just would use it regularly. And then I would say I started my own research around 11 or 12. So my twin sister just found the very first chart I ever printed on astrology.com. It's her chart back in 2001. So she found that and that corroborated, oh, yeah, it was around that time. And then it just became a curiosity. Truthfully, I had no intention, Chrissy, of doing this professionally.
Right.
It never dawned on me, even in my mid to late 20s, when I was seeing astrologers work on the internet, when I started to become friends with some of the astrologers who I admired and still do to this day. It didn't even cross my mind until one of my friends, Ophira A. Duke, one half of the Astro Twins, she said,
Mm-hmm.
"You really need to stop doing this for free." And at the time, I was a master's degree student at Parsons, which is exorbitantly expensive. I was not working because I was in school, and she was like,
What were you studying?
"Fashion."
Oh,
fashion too. So I have my MA in fashion studies, not MFA, but an
oh
MA in
my God,
fashion
I love
studies.
that.
Yeah, it absolutely the one of maybe the best decision I ever made in my life. And she said, stop doing this for free. And then I had to get a job. So I started working as a waiter. And then I got hired there from a different company who I was waiting their table. And then they hired me to do textile stuff. And then they then laid me off subsequently 7 months later. And it worked
Mm.
out for the better though, because 2 weeks prior, I just put out a website called queercosmos.com with the help of my best friend, Christina Mui. And our idea was just to have a creative outlet, right? Because she was feeling a little uninspired at her job. So was I. So we were like, oh, let's just make an astrology blog. Remember those in
Yeah.
2015, 2016,
Of
you
course.
know? And then I got fired, was getting unemployment from the state of New Jersey. And I said, all right, I'm going to go all in on this. And then here we are. And I think it's been almost 9 years now.
Okay, I want to talk about the video you posted this week
I,
because
I had a feeling you were. I love it. Good job, Pisces. Okay.
uh I I just love that you posted that so much. So
Oh,
you posted a video this week basically about how you kind of like took a step back from astrology these last few years and like yeah, the way that astrology has like exploded since like 2018, 2019 has been
right.
really wild to watch because obviously like
Yes.
astrology's always been on like the fringe. It still kind of
Yes.
is in a sense because there are so many people who are like, "Oh, you believe in that? Like, oh,
Yeah.
do you really think it's real?" I'm like, there is no. Have we ever heard of anyone who has studied astrology and said, "Oh, this isn't real"? No. I always say it's either you know it or you don't.
Oh,
You
I
either
love
know
it.
it or you
Yeah.
don't.
Don't critique what you don't know, baby boy. Like, that's
Literally. Um,
it. Uh,
but what is happening on social media right now with astrology, I think is really scary. And I talk a bit about it. I feel like every time I have an astrologer on here, I always ask like, what do you think about all the like fear mongering that happens around astrology? So yeah, I love that you said I literally like took notes on what you said about how like astrology is supposed to be a tool to contextualize uncertainty, but now because there's so much uncertainty that people are using it as like a tool for control.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit more about how you were feeling and where do you want to see things go?
Well, thank you for watching and for listening with an open mind and an open heart because I know you love the craft deeply as well. So,
Yes.
yeah, that means a lot to me. Yeah, I just sort of look at it from all behavior makes sense in a context,
Mm-hmm.
and the context is the world is feeling completely out of control.
Yeah.
So the behavior is then, how do we, to the best of our capability, control uncertainty and that way regain a sense of effectiveness? And I did see that reach a critical point, yeah, right around 2021, 20,
Mm-hmm.
especially 2023, 2024 with the election cycle. That
Yeah.
always kicks things up into overgear. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Horowitz, who is an occult historian of the United States, discusses that in moments of collective crisis and collective uncertainty, you can track increased consumption in the metaphysical arts. So there's that too. And yeah, I just had to take a step back in 2023 because yes, I did see fear mongering, but I was like, it's not just that.
Mm.
There's something more insidious under here. And I'm like, what is going on? So I had to move back a bit and do the bare minimum and pay my bills because that's all I could do.
Yeah.
And just start to get curious about, okay, so what is astrology being used as now? How do I remember it? And what do we need to do about it going forward? And thankfully, I was in an artist residency, which gave me the container to
Mm.
explore that. And implicit in just the program is the fact that astrology is an art.
Yeah.
It is also a tool. It depends on however the practitioner wants to leverage it, but it's an art
Mm-hmm.
form. And art uses metaphor and symbol. It's not so certain. And it really just, it was hard because on the one hand, I was just getting increasingly devastated because as I just described, astrology is deeply personal to me.
Yeah.
It's because of my mother. It's because of my home. It like some of the most amazing people I've ever met and the opportunities I've received and the relationships are all through astrology. And when I was
Mm-hmm.
watching it getting twisted and turned into this vehicle to flatten life force, to collapse courage, to make the uncontrollable controllable, I just said, this has got to fucking stop.
Yeah.
And additionally, when we make the or attempts to make the uncontrollable controllable, Hartmut Rosa, the German sociologist who I cited in the video, argues that we unleash Frankensteins of uncontrollability. And
Right.
that's when I noticed astrologers do act out of control on the internet. And by the
Yeah.
way, they also act out of control in person as well. And I'll say that I won't name anybody because I don't publicly
Right.
shame,
Right.
but they are acting without decency and dignity
Mm-hmm.
and social skills. And so, do I think that's a function of them doubling down on control? Perhaps. It could be lots of other mitigating factors. And because I love and care deeply about not just astrology, but astrologers and the people who come to us for clarity, I
Mm-hmm.
can't not speak and say there is something seriously wrong here. And if we don't fix it, then we're all just pretending that there isn't a fucking problem. And I'm not going to fucking pretend that there isn't a goddamn problem.
Preach. I also think a huge problem, right, is that people saw astrology as a path to social media success.
Oh, and yes, and what I learned, Chrissy, in the comments, I'm gonna probably have to find a way to aggregate the data and things,
Right.
uh, is that therapists said the same thing. Anybody involved in spirituality and personal development was remarking the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
that whatever we can do to collapse uncertainty and say, hey, look, I'm right, that's going to accelerate my path. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the collective problem. Astrology is just one of many industries that have been besieged by this trend. Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure you see it in fashion, in personal development, in anything. It's just like whatever we can do
Yeah.
to alleviate your anxiety by, again, trying to control the uncontrollable, we'll do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think you see that across the board. Yeah, it's definitely with therapists, personal development people,
Yeah.
like the dating
Oh
coaches
my
or
God.
dating experts who
Bingo.
like kind of
Yes.
promise like if you follow this formula, you can get the guy to stay,
Yeah.
you
That's it.
know?
That's the mountaintop. Yeah.
So, um
Yeah.
overall, the goal for all of us should be like we need to increase our tolerance for uncertainty.
Like, exactly. Exactly. Because that, shout out to Rachel Botsman, a British
Yes,
scholar in Oxford,
I
that is
I
the
read her
definition.
book. You
Oh, yeah.
recommended to
That's my
me.
girl. That's my girl.
Trust. Trust.
Yeah, see, and I actually think astrology, because I'm sure maybe people theoretically watched the video and said, well, then what do I use astrology for? Right? To contextualize the uncertainty and make other people's tolerance level with it bearable,
Yeah.
resource them with their strengths, with their
Yes.
ancestral memory. There's so much we can do that is not prediction.
Right.
Please.
Um, I mean, that's the biggest gift that it has given me. I always say this, is like it has helped me stand firmly in my strengths
Boom.
and
Got
also
plenty, girl.
and thank you. And also as someone who felt like, oh, I have all of these challenges, especially when it comes to like my romantic life. I have Saturn in the seventh, blah, blah, blah. I always felt like there was something wrong with me. And then when I got my birth chart read, I was like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. Like this is part of my mission. This is my challenge during my lifetime. And so I don't have to look at this through the lens of there is something wrong with me.
Right. And to that point, that I have heard an astrologer say, yeah, we also have to be really honest. Like, if we see a natal chart and we just don't see love in the future, like, we can't lie to them and say they have, hope or potential for a romantic partner. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm sorry, where do you get off thinking because someone has Saturn in the seventh or God only knows what, you can play God like that?
Pisces in the Pisces Venus in the 12th
All
also.
right,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Listen, she's got a relationship with the divine, baby. But also, it's just like, yeah, and I don't think we talk enough about the power of narrative, how the astrology as an artistic narrative shapes the way people experience reality. So
mm,
to say these things is just wildly irresponsible. It's not that we spiritually bypass and ignore what Viktor Frankl calls the terrible triad or the triad of despair. So it's like death, sadness, and anguish. We're
right,
not bypassing that, but we are simply saying if we don't resource ourselves with our own strengths and our own relationships, then great, water is wet, there's a fire. You want to give me something I can actually work with though? Because right now you're not.
right.
Anywho, sorry.
No, and at the end of the day, as we all know, and some struggle to accept, it's like we're all going to experience struggle and
Hello.
uncertainty in our lives. Like I wrote a newsletter about this, I think earlier this year, about how prior to those periods where I experienced a lot of growth, I feel like I felt very stuck, very confused, very uncertain. So
Yeah.
to me, it's almost like, oh, that's a sign that something is going to change eventually. And your mission is to sit in that discomfort and take the lessons that come through that because you still learn. I mean, listen, I have an eighth house stellium. I
Mm,
have learned the most about myself through periods of struggle.
yes.
That's like literally why I even started my newsletter was to write about how I have overcome shit because
Mm,
it's made me a better person.
yes. Yes. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And I just want to speak to you with your astrology, there is that value of your Capricorn moon
Yes.
where you are shoulder to shoulder people and just sort of ask lovingly, what made you think you were entitled to comfort, to a permanent state of enthusiasm 24/7? Like,
Truly,
drop and give me 20, bitch. That's how I would
truly.
say it. But like, but I feel like you get it. Because
I do.
honestly, I feel your Capricorn so profoundly, even just the way that
Thank
you
you.
hold yourself, your posture.
Thank
It's
you.
just it's giving Capricorn mastery. Yeah, and there is that
Thank you.
energy of just everybody get to work.
Everyone gets honestly, when Kim Kardashian had that little like
Oh, yeah,
that
not
little
quite that, but yeah, go
that
ahead.
little quote of like seems like nobody wants to
He
work
wants to work
anymore.
today? Right.
I'm like, I don't listen,
I
maybe
don't
not the
disagree,
maybe
but I
not the
don't
right
agree.
messenger,
Right, right,
but
right.
absolutely the right message. Absolutely the right message. I will
Yeah.
also say, just
How nuanced of you. Good job, Pisces.
piggybacking off of what I said before about like, how much growth I've experienced through struggle is like when I was naming this newsletter Forward Joy, which is actually it's my father's birth name, funny
Oh,
enough.
oh,
Um,
wow.
but when I was working with my managers at the time, they were like, well, they said like, is it gonna be about joy? And I was like, no, not all the time. It won't.
Right.
But I'm like, but that's actually the thing is like I've been able to gain joy after going through difficult periods in my life. And it's just like, it's the same as like, you can't be happy all the time. You're going to experience sad days. So I'm like, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, the joy is always going to be ahead of you. No matter where you are in your life, there will be joy ahead.
Yes. Everything is a phase, including a phase. I heard a
Yes.
client just say yesterday. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Beautifully, beautifully contextualized. Go ahead.
All right, 2026.
Let's do it. Let's do
Let's
it.
talk about it.
Can I
Um,
just say what I think we're going to experience?
yes, like what's your like overall outlook
Yeah.
on
I want to
2026?
start like really big and then zoom in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but first, there was this incredible documentary that I watched on the year that I was born called 1989.
Oh.
1989, the year that made modernity,
Mm.
National Geographic. And it alleged that so many moments in history there actually then set the tone for modernity as we experience it. So
Mm,
it came out in 2019, so 30 years later. But I
mhm,
think a lot of what it said still rings true. Like it used the example of how in 1989, that was the year that Donald Trump took out the full page ad on the New York Times that
mm.
said, bring back the death penalty for the Central Park
Central Park
Five.
Fun. Just got
Right.
the chills. Yep.
Yeah. And so, hello. And then that was also the same year where we saw this convergence, and I'm getting chills now too, of sensationalism and gossip-based journalism
Mm-hmm.
on mainstream news media.
Mm-hmm.
That, as you probably know, as a journalist, that was not the case
Right.
before early to mid 80s.
Yeah.
That's the new algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they even use this line, if it bleeds, it leads, meaning start with the scary stuff to hold the attention of the viewer. I mean, this has not changed profoundly. So watch
No.
this whole documentary, The Fall of the Berlin Wall. The Game Boy was invented, which they say became the prototype for the iPhone. I mean, there's just
Really?
yeah,
I did not know
yes.
that.
Alleged, yeah, these are all
Alleged. Right.
historians, commentary. Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. I think three members were elected to Congress, were the first Black members of the same in the same year, right?
Yeah.
So there
Wow.
was so much happening there. And what will happen in 2026 rhymes with what I just said from 1989.
Mm.
So it's called a Saturn-Neptune conjunction, and it's going to take shape precisely on February 20th.
Nice.
And there were three in 1989. And
Oh.
what this British journalist who was actually in Berlin the night the Berlin Wall fell, she
Mm-hmm.
said, and I don't know why I'm getting emotional thinking about this, probably because it's my birth year. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's when I took in the energy. But
Yeah.
she said 1989 was the year that I believed in the joy of unexpected liberation.
Mm.
And that
Writing that
is
down.
what I think 2026 will give us a sense of the joy of unexpected liberation. And maybe it will be the freedom from, in certain capacities, what I just described,
Mm.
right? This like incredibly angry, gorging algorithm, or distance from propaganda on the news and just our own low tolerance for like, why do I stay hooked when there's gossip and shame and what am I doing?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for listening.
I love that. Well, I think it also, it speaks to like astrology is also like the study of cycles, right? And
Yes, yes,
so
yes,
um
yes.
I think that's something that I've become really fascinated
Of
by in the
course,
last
Capricorn
like
moon.
2 years,
Say more.
especially through like Celeste.
Yes. Astrology by Celeste. Shout out Queen Celeste. We love you. Go
Yes,
ahead.
yes. Shout out to Celeste, who, when I interviewed her, I don't know if you saw this, but I saw when she posted on Threads that Kate Middleton had cancer before the news came out, and
Yeah.
people were not happy. And people were not happy about that.
But
And
she called it.
she called it. She ended up deleting it, and I was like, I'm so
Ah,
glad I'm so glad I saw it though.
because you can vouch.
Yes.
Queen
Yes.
C. Okay, yeah, she's got so many psychic gifts. I love it. Go ahead.
I know. But yeah, I love how she, yeah, talks about the astrology transits and how it correlates to things going on in, our news cycle in the world.
Yeah,
That's also one of those moments where I'm like, if you don't believe in astrology, like you need to be paying attention to this
yeah.
because there's something to it. Like the Mars Uranus conjunction of last year when Donald Trump got shot. As soon as I saw the news, I was like, oh, yep, that's the Mars Uranus conjunction at play.
Girl, why are you not speaking as an astrologer on these podcasts? Honey,
I,
honey,
we can talk about
honey.
we can talk about
Okay,
that later. We can talk about
okay,
that later.
okay.
Okay,
Good
so
job.
the Saturn conjunct Neptune happening February 20th, that is your number one
Bread
transit
and
for the
butter.
year.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for almost 2 years now, which isn't a long time. And yeah, that I think will set the tone for the year. Yes.
Mm, okay.
And really quickly for folks who are like, what the hell? So Saturn is the planet of construction.
Yep.
Neptune is the planet of deconstruction.
Mm-hmm.
Maurice Hernandez, an astrologer, helped me understand this. And they will be interacting for the first time at the very first degree of Aries in recorded history.
Wait, at 1 degree? Aries?
Zero, zero
Oh,
degrees.
0. Because my
Yeah.
my Aries is, or my Mercury is 1 degrees Aries.
Oh, then you will have a story for me probably right around your birthday, and my toes are curling. I can't wait to hear it.
Oh yeah.
So, Saturn Neptune forming at 0 degrees Aries, which is called the world axis point.
Yes.
And because it's deconstructing and reconstructing, it's in the Aries rule domain of sometimes the military industrial complex,
Mm.
of power over dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
violence, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there's this Neptune wants peace and Saturn wants a strategy around it. So
Yeah.
there's we're thinking of, a serious strategy for peace in real collective crisis, which is not to say certain people don't have the right to violently protest.
Right.
But there is
Of
this
course.
energy around, okay, let's reframe it. And especially, I'm thinking, Chrissy, it's going to inspire people to take a stand for their life force when there are so many systems that would rather them be just not dead, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of Audre Lorde's work, uses of the erotic, Esther Perel,
Mm-hmm.
to take a stand for life force
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely critical. And again, does astrology always do that? No,
No.
because it can, or how it's positioned now. But these transits are helping people understand, who do I have to be fully alive?
Yeah.
What do I have to do? What do I need to have? And John Piero Petrielli, an organizational psychologist at INSEAD, he says that aliveness is a function of safety and freedom. People feel fully alive when they're kept safe and set free.
And that's not really the vibe that this country is working with right now.
No, no. And that's why it's interesting, right? Because, like you said, around the astrology transit, so the vibe the country is working with is still harkening back to what started in 2011, because
Mm-hmm.
Neptune, through a retrograde phase, has
Yeah.
entered Pisces again. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to return to Aries on January 26th, where
Mm-hmm.
it'll stay for approximately 15 years. And
Wow.
then Saturn returns to Aries on February 13th, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Uranus is back in Taurus, where it's been since 2018, and then it enters Gemini on April 25th. So you could say that we still have work to do
Right.
around all of this crap,
Yeah.
basically. And we could say heavily now until January, February, before Saturn and Neptune leave Pisces, because Pisces is trying to wash us clean and heal us from the past.
Right.
And then when
Desperately.
Uranus enters, please, and then when Uranus enters Gemini on April 25th, that will be the beginning. And I really do believe this, and I'd be more than happy to be proven wrong because I'll take a stand for the vision and hope here. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that's when we're going to be living into the new dawn, the new era, but not before.
I love it. And I think, for most of us, uh, fully conscious people, I think we see what's going on right now in our country as like, this is just even like what we were talking about before. This is just something the country needs to go through. Like,
1000%.
this is the struggle. This
Yeah.
is the struggle before the joy comes in.
Thank
And
you.
I'm like, everyone's just got to learn the lessons,
Yes.
unfortunately.
And don't tap out, because this is responsible citizenry, right? Like,
Yes.
if we're thinking of the United States as an example, these theoretically enlightened principles of a government of the people, by the people, and for the people weren't just alive in people's hearts when the Declaration of Independence was signed. You know, these are principles
Mm.
that we need to put into practice and
Yep.
close the gap as much as we can between American law and American policy and practice. That's
Hmm.
what we're here to do.
Yeah.
So again, get to work. No.
Yes.
Playtime
Right.
is over. I don't want to hear it, is the energy.
Well, I, I think so many, I'm like, not to go like full blown politics here, but it's like,
Please, let's
but
do it. Everything's political.
I know this is true. Um, I feel like in comment sections online around like headlines in the US, there's always like, people from other countries who are commenting like, especially I think for like France, it's like if
Mm,
this was our country, like we would all be in the streets. Like they're like,
mm,
at what point do Americans like do something? And I think a lot of us are feeling that way. I'm like, I definitely would not like categorize myself as like an organizer, but it's
mm.
like I'm like someone send the smoke signal. Like
Yeah.
when do we start? Because
Mm,
we can't just keep like sitting and watching all of this happen. Like
right.
and there we're not going to be able to make a difference unless we're like actually doing something.
Yes, yes. And also to quote Rick Levine, think cosmically, act locally.
Right.
So, what are you doing in your bakery?
Yeah.
What are you doing in your bank? What are you doing down the street? Like,
Yeah.
that's the beginning of all of this, right?
Absolutely. It's
And
community.
absolutely. And then because we are seeing with Neptune in Aries, especially an era that returns for the first time since the American Civil War,
Mm-hmm.
which, if you really want to go American history,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, that's the beginning, the middle, and the end of all this analysis from the fact that
Yeah.
Reconstruction was an abject failure. There were no reparations to the descendants of the enslaved. The
Mm-hmm.
American South got besieged by the Ku Klux Klan, Jim Crow, carpetbaggers, the whole fucking thing. And it's not like
Mm-hmm.
the North is devoid of any sort of racism or economic injustice,
As we know.
and. We're returning back to that. And so, to quote Isabel Wilkerson, the author of Caste,
Upcast.
America is an old house and it's got cracked foundations and chipped paint.
Yeah.
And are we willing to go into those chipped foundations with that historical lens and sort of say, right, so what are we actually going to discuss, decide, and legislate to address the issues that have been rotting this foundation since the late 1860s? And we
Yeah.
can also go back to, tax injustice and neoliberalism of the 70s, 80s. We can go there.
Right.
And again, with that Saturn Neptune spirit in Aries,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I'm just like, this country will never know peace unless they right the wrongs of the past.
Full stop. And can I just tell you, I have always believed that is the special ministry of Pisces, actually.
Mm.
So a few years ago, and she's a complex figure. I have admired her work extensively. I saw Marianne Williamson do this amazing ritual
Mm-hmm.
around spiritual apology and spiritual atonement.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting chills just thinking about it. White people had to get up and apologize and atone for the sins of slavery.
Mm.
And there were several Black congregationists, we would call them, or people in the lecture, people in the church.
Yeah.
And to be in that room and to know that there was a sense of spiritual atonement.
Yeah.
And I believe I spoke to two Black participants later who said something inside of them shifted to just hear,
Wow.
I'm sorry, to hear a prayer of atonement and mercy and forgiveness.
That's powerful.
It was incredible, Christine. And then I thought of Pisces, the two fish, right, as each
Mm-hmm.
one representing the two hardest things that any sort of real discipline spirituality is going to provide us with, which is the capacity for apology and forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, just want to give you that
Yes.
spine and stature because I would be listening to a Pisces on that more than anybody else, honey.
Right? I, my two philosophies, I'm like, listen to the Pisces and listen to Black women.
Okay, or how
Right?
about listen to both? A
Both
Pisces
right
black
here.
woman, thank you. Okay.
Right here. Um, Okay, should we talk about the nodes?
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
Talk
Because
about the
speaking of
nodes.
power to Black women, the North Node is entering Aquarius,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So what we're seeing is we're shifting from the North Node in Pisces, which we've had
Hmm.
since January 2025.
5. Okay.
Yep. And then it's going to enter Aquarius. You might actually have the date on here because my agenda is not showing it.
Yes, I
I,
do. July 26th is when it
ugh,
first, when the node actually enters, but obviously we're going to experience our first new moon eclipse in Aquarius February 17th.
oh, come on, come prepared with these dates, honey. Okay.
This is
So
the first time
yes.
I've done this actually.
Oh, I'm so glad because it helps me stay on target. Yeah, so Aquarius is collective liberation and making sure that we protect the most vulnerable, which is why I was discussing the North Node in Listen to Black Woman Aquarius, because
Hmm.
we know the United States does fuck all to
Hmm.
protect vulnerable Black women.
Yep.
So yeah, we're going to see a whole new shift in, again, collective liberation, collective injustice and ways in which we can address it, because the
Hmm.
North Node is in Aquarius, right? So we're going in that direction. The
Yes.
South Node is in Leo, so it's one big collective, get the fuck over yourself and show up for other people,
Yeah.
right? Because again, back to the industries that we've critiqued, it positions so often, self-love, self-help, selfie, self-me as like the supreme spiritual mountaintop.
Yeah.
And girl, that's the floor, that's not the ceiling. Like, please, please.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm looking forward to with Aquarius energy. And maybe even too, it could be a collective reckoning around what also Aquarius rules theoretically, because obviously the ancients didn't necessarily know about social media, technology, AI, but
Right, but it rules
modern
tech.
tech is
Yeah.
Aquarius. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That'll definitely be exciting to see what evolves from that because there's definitely something
In
going
the air.
on with social media right now and
Yes. Yes. What are you feeling, Pisces? Come on.
I know
Flip the scripts. Now I got to interview you.
I know. I think it's yeah, I think it's tricky because um there is a part of me that does really want to be seen. I really want to be seen. But Instagram does not feel like the right platform for that
Mm,
anymore. Um, and I think
mm,
it's very challenging to be seen on that platform because of the mechanics of how it works. So it feels like I'm giving it a lot of my energy to not get very much back out of it, which is
yeah.
why I'm really thankful that I have this newsletter, this podcast in conjunction with it. Because even it's funny, last night I went into the city and I was on the Metro North train, and a girl walked by me and she was like, I just have to say, I love your
Oh,
newsletter. And
oh,
and it
Chrissy.
made me, I know, it was so sweet. And it made me realize that there actually has been this shift of like people coming up to me and saying, "Oh, I love your Instagram," to "I love your newsletter." Because that's where I really feel like I am making an impact. But it's tricky because you also have to be on social media and you also have to be promoting yourself on social media. But
I know.
um
I know.
yeah, but it's just not great. It's just not a
Yeah.
great space anymore. And someone actually just told me about a book called Enshittification.
Oh, Jesus.
And
Okay.
and it's basically about how the internet's kind of like devolved into what it is now. Because remember, like back, say 15, 20 years ago, like, we've all been on the internet for a long time, but it was never like hostile and just like completely like all consuming,
Yes.
hostile, the fighting,
Oh my God.
the the fear mongering, the rage
Oh
baiting.
my God.
It's just not it's just not a great place.
Oh, you'll have to give me the one, two, threes on that
Yeah.
because I would say TV is that. But who has TV anymore?
Right.
So now we're over it. Now we just brought, the Jerry Springers to Instagram and then basically this outrageous, attention grabbing, whatever, whatever.
That is very
Yeah.
true. That
Yeah.
is
But
very
you'll have to
true.
tell me if like maybe the author says you would think it's because we don't watch TV news. But yeah, let me
Right.
know if
Yeah,
it's if that's case
I have
down.
to order it. I tried to get the
Yeah.
audiobook, but it didn't seem like it existed. Okay, so June 19th, Chiron is entering Taurus, which honestly kind of freaked me out when I saw that because I'm a Taurus
Yeah.
rising.
I know. And I just feel like between Uranus in Taurus, completely destabilizing my poor Taurians.
Yeah,
To now Chiron following suit. It's like, Lord have mercy.
seriously.
Yes, yes. And what we will definitely see, because when the outer celestials or planets enter the first degrees of a new sign, it kicks stuff up to show us pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's only going to further what Uranus and Taurus from 2018 to 2026 has helped us understand primarily about our context for security and safety.
And actually,
And yeah,
can you give an overview around Chiron? Because Chiron is
sure.
not something that we like, I think is talked about as much, but
Right.
I really
I
love
agree.
it
I
because
agree.
and I always when I read someone's chart, I'm like, oh,
Uh,
where's the Chiron?
right. Yes. Yours
Um,
is Gemini, right, honey?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
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 okay.
yes,
So Chiron is an asteroid. We'll start with like the bare minimum.
yeah,
But I'm almost positive it's an asteroid. It could be a moon.
yes,
Let me double check. No, asteroid.
asteroid,
Yes.
yeah,
Thank you. Okay. And it is an asteroid which represents the wounded healer. So Chiron was the wounded centaur who trained the demigods, et cetera, but was always in pain. So he can never be the figure he was training to sort of be the best hero. And my gay astrology godfather, Christopher Redstrom, says that that Chiron, if you look at the symbol, Chrissy, it looks like a key.
yes,
And he says it is the key
it
in a
is the
lot of
key.
ways. Yeah.
I feel that.
And yeah, my friend and beloved poet who then became an astrologer, Sonia Renee Taylor, she also is obsessed with Chiron because she believes that it holds so much of the key to understanding the natal chart. So
Yeah.
it whatever sign it's in represents what we came into this lifetime with around a particular wound, right? So
Hmm.
for you, and I think we discussed this in your reading without giving anything away, there could be a wound around intellect,
Yeah.
communication, active listening, very Gemini, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced just yet, but I hold the theory that when we bring the wound to the light, when we think about the impediment to action advances action, what stands in the way becomes the way, the foundation
Mm.
of Stoic philosophy, then the Chiron wound becomes the wondrous medicine
Yeah.
that we do provide with and to others. Because again, A Course in Miracles is this beautiful healer's prayer. I will be healed as I let God teach me how to heal.
Mm.
And I think of Chiron in that similar way of like, I will be healed by this if I heal other people from it, through it, because of it, in spite of it.
Absolutely. And yeah, and I think that's been a really big one for me because it's funny as you were talking about like Chiron and Gemini, I was like, I wonder if that's why I'm such a know-it-all. That's something I'm like trying to work on very recently because I see myself kind of like if someone's talking to me, I'm like, yeah, 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 I know that. Yeah, 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 I know that. Even when I don't, oftentimes. I just have this need to always be like, yeah, 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 I know, I know, I know, I know. Yeah, I know.
Correct. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Um,
Chrissy, you know what, babe? Now I'm a know-it-all. But I would say, I wonder, I could feel that being actually very Capricorn sometimes, sweetie. Not to keep blaming our moon sign.
I know.
Because
I
Gemini's like can be an airhead. We're like, really? It's just
I
like,
know. I
oh no.
and it's funny because also sometimes I do play dumb. I
Yeah.
do like to play
Ah,
dumb. I do like to
okay.
play dumb.
Hey, good. Get him. Get him.
Um,
Get him.
yeah, I don't know, but I think just like the concept of the wounds,
Yeah.
and because mine is in the second house, so it's like the value. And I do think I have a big wound around like my own personal value. And so that's also something that I have written a lot about and I share it with others. And, um, I think there's something about also being vulnerable uh for others like enjoyment is, a lot of people will ask me like, oh, well, is it hard to share like such personal stories about yourself? And I'm like, honestly, not really, because at some point it kind of stops being about me. It's like I'm the vessel and I'm
Yes.
sharing this story in order for others to feel seen.
Mm,
Like
mm,
that
mm.
is the purpose of it. So sometimes it's like I have to like get out of my I have to get out of my own way, and obviously I'm sharing things that I'm not just sharing things just for the sake of sharing it,
Right,
and I'm still making sure that I'm protecting myself, but I
right.
share things that I know others are going to be able to like see themselves in. So even when it's something that I have felt insecure about, and as a result, it's like I get to set myself free because I've shared it.
And make sure that the next thing we talk about is Jupiter and Leo because
Yeah,
you
yes,
have
yes, it
Jupiter and
is. It is.
Leo. And
It is.
I will say too, no, you know what? Let's go right into Jupiter and Leo. Yeah,
Yeah, it is
if you
next.
want. This is your
Yeah.
show. I
No,
just, yeah, okay. Because I
no,
was like, that's such good connective tissue. Go ahead.
it is next. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. How does that relate?
Yeah, because Leo is the sign of self-disclosure.
Mm,
So it is at its highest expression. And I often think, yeah, people don't know I'm going to be very honest with you. People don't know the first fucking thing about Leo. At its highest
I know.
expression, they
There we
really
go.
don't. Yeah, no, I
It's
look
definitely the
at,
most misunderstood sign, I think.
ooh, and they're probably going to be like, damn right. Like, finally, I came first in something, but I wish it wasn't most misunderstood. No,
Well, I
you know
also
who
feel
I
that
actually,
people who are Leo suns, I feel like they're the sign of the people I come across the most who are like, oh, but I don't relate to my sun sign.
yeah, yes, because we're like, oh, Leo, center of attention, too
Mhm.
much, arrogant, demanding, entitled. Sure, maybe they go there. Who doesn't? I've seen that from all 12 zodiac signs, right?
Yeah.
But at the highest expression, well, first, I want to presence Whitney Houston.
Mm, we love we love Whitney.
I think of when I think of Leo, I think of Whitney.
Hmm.
And in terms of a practice or a principle for Leo, it's that sign of self-disclosure. So it's I'm going to tell the story of who I am with my whole heart. And in doing so, you can't take me from behind, baby,
Exactly.
because I just told on myself. And by the way,
Exactly. I
right?
love
And
it. I
then
love
because
this. I love
it's
this.
not that Whitney did that per se, but
Right.
I, I think she had this gorgeous expression of self-disclosure. She told so many truths, not and she if she felt like she needed to be private, she could be private, but she was extremely honest about her struggles around like what it meant to be a pop artist on MTV when they only wanted to see Madonna, not a black woman,
Right.
right? So another
Hmm.
Leo, interestingly enough.
Yes.
So yeah, just the self-disclosure piece. And because Chrissy, you have the capacity for vulnerability and visibility,
Hmm.
you then set other people free. That's the beauty of Leo. Because Whitney sings, I want to dance with somebody. Or how about even, I love this idea, although it's heartbreaking at the same time, like the fact that to this day, my brother would say it's Marvin Gaye. I think it's Whitney Houston. That a black woman sung the national anthem the best.
Mm, yes.
The what's the word? It's like the poetic injustice, the
Mm,
whatever it is. It's just like,
I
like to
know.
be in that space of, oh, I'll tell you about freedom, and
Yes,
just
she will.
yes,
Yes,
she
she will.
will rest her soul, and Bobby
Oh,
Christina as well. So
yeah.
yeah, I when I think of Leo, I think of that energy of just I will heal other people because I have the courage to be vulnerable in my visibility, and none of you motherfuckers are gonna take me down.
I really believe in that, especially like when it pertains to being on the internet, because I mean, I think there's two ways to look at it, right? Like, I do not feel like everyone needs to expose themselves on the internet, right?
No.
A lot of people do that for clicks and views and this and that. No one should feel like they have to do that.
Mm.
I feel a higher calling to sharing. things about myself. So that's why I do that.
Yes.
Um, but at the same time, I think there's this narrative that people are like, oh, well, if I don't tell people things, then they won't say bad things about me, or like don't
Bullshit.
give
Bullshit.
people ammunition, but I'm
Bullshit.
like, but actually, even when you hide things from people, they can still make up
Hello.
whatever the fuck they want. Like
Whether you like it or not.
hiding things from like the public, it doesn't make it any different because then they are left to their own devices to story tell.
And can project whatever they want. Yeah, and it's case by case. And
Right.
also, yeah, I think that the beauty of Leo is I define who I am, you
Right.
don't.
Exactly.
And I will get up here imperfectly and courageously and tell you exactly who the fuck I am.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
from there, you can make up whatever stories you want, but I will
Have
define
at
who
it.
I am. Yeah, go right
Exactly.
ahead. Go right ahead. Because listen, Leo is the sign of worthiness, right? So it's like I am fundamentally
Hmm.
worthy of love, joy, belonging, and expressing my full self. And I will not be taken down by shame and silence, secrecy, and judgment.
Hmm.
Absolutely not.
Which is funny because Leo rules my fourth house.
And so the perhaps, Chrissy, the more you tell the story of
My family.
family of origin, culture of
Yeah.
origin, certain dynamics,
Yeah.
right? That could, in a sense, bring you into greater touch with that Leo nobility and dignity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And go into Jupiter some more because
Sure.
that's like also what I always tell people like, with a new year, it's like track the Jupiter cycle where it's going to be in your chart because
So proud of
that's
you.
just where like some good energy is going to be.
Yeah.
Although I will say, and I did experience this with the Jupiter and Gemini transit, that sometimes Jupiter can also expand things that are bad.
That shouldn't it be expanded? Got it. Yes, yes. Concurred on that, even though I'm a Gemini stellium. Because, yeah, so first things first, Jupiter's in Cancer until June 29th or June 30th, depending
30th.
what time zone you're in. Yeah.
Yep.
So Jupiter will stay in Cancer until then. And now we'll go Jupiter, Cancer, and then Jupiter entering Leo. Yes, because the first half of this year, we're going to think about Jupiter as I would say the planet of imagination and vision.
Mm,
So I think where we have to remember the story of Jupiter's success is that it only expresses the images of our mind that we intentionally imagined. It's all about thought work, belief work, another incredible idea that has become absolutely flattened and weaponized in spiritual personal development communities.
yeah.
But it's the notion that this is author David Jacandi, Happy Pocket Full of Money. All our life is the images of the mind expressed, which is not to say if something bad
Mm.
happened to us, I imagined this. No, but it is
Right.
to say that if you are not intentionally bringing in imagery that helps you imagine a different life, then we're going to be in trouble. That's Jupiter. So Jupiter wants, hey, listen to music as regularly as possible where you can visualize and imagine particular success. We
Hmm.
are amazing fiction writers about worst case scenario. And then when
Yes.
I pass them the mic and say, well, can you give me best case scenario?
Nope.
Silence. Yeah, why is that? And that's a
Why
Jupiter
is that?
question. So we're doing it with Cancer until the first 6 months of the year. So it's all about belonging, emotional safety, home. I'm imagining a world, and I promise I won't cry again, where my Italian citizenship case gets actualized. Yes, I can give my niece and nephew the citizenship. My mother can have better health care.
Mm,
My twin sister can be able, like, that's what I'm imagining, because again, it's
yeah.
home, family, belonging, culture of
Yeah.
origin, ancestry, connecting to that energy.
Yep.
And then when Jupiter enters Leo, it is about the courage to take risks and be seen. And in doing so, do you set other people free? Because, Chrissy, what is it like? Because I'm sure this happens to you regularly. And if I'm asking something too direct or pointed and I need to mind my own white business, you can fucking tell me.
Shut up.
But what is it like when Black women stop you and say, like, because of you, I feel, because of you, I can, because of your leadership. Because it must happen regularly.
Yeah, it does.
And what's it like
And
to hear that?
it just makes me feel like I'm doing something right with my life. It
Yeah.
makes me feel like all of the struggles and all of the things that I've gone through, like it was for something.
Yes. Oh my God. And that's Leo too. It's like it was for something, it was on purpose. I am on purpose.
Right.
And yeah, there was a moment when at last year's, it's called NORWAC. It's probably
Yeah, yeah,
America's
yeah.
best astrology
I
conference.
know I really need to go to an astrology conference.
Oh, Chrissy. Oh my God. Yes.
I
I'm
know.
almost positive like NORWAC's almost sold out. So you can either go to that one or UAC in Chicago. You might
Right.
love UAC. They're both amazing.
Okay.
But yes, so I gave a keynote lecture basically about it was kind of the writing on the wall for the video I just made, which is, hey
Mm.
guys, get your act together. Anyway, have a
Hmm.
great time. And to have certain people pull me aside and say, hey, this helped me feel more validated. I now know I belong here.
Mm.
Your astrology interpretations are setting me free. I was like, it's just the most sacred thing. And that's the story of Leo and Aquarius, right? Because I told the truth of my
Yeah.
astrology journey and I didn't pretend that I got accredited by this or I've been studying, but I'm like, I'm a self-taught son of blue collar individuals, never imagined I'd
Hmm.
get here. Here I am. I didn't have the luxury of investing thousands of dollars. I'm just here. I'm running my
Right.
mouth.
Yeah.
And then the fact that other people could feel liberated from that, that was a Leo moment. Does that make sense?
Of course. I know
Yeah.
it's really special. I think, yeah, I think it's just a really profound feeling to like know that you can create change in someone's life. And, you know, I was doing a lot of DEI consulting in 2020 to whatever in those during that time that
Those years. Yeah,
that
right.
anybody cared about racism with my business partner Danielle Prescott. And like, we always say like not all of us have the power to change policy and to make these big sweeping changes. So you have the responsibility of like creating change in the ways that you have the power to,
Right, right.
whether that is you hire interns and so you're gonna hire, a more or seek out a more diverse set of
In-
people.
Yes, yes.
And
Yeah.
so, and I think that just like that goes across the board for everyone. Not everyone's got to get on social media and get on
No,
their little soapbox and
no,
do
no,
this and that to create change. You can
no.
create change for your neighbor.
Hello.
You can create change at work. You can create change in your family.
You better do it in your family, yeah, because sorry to be so direct, but it's like that's where you were incarnated. Hello. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I would also say to the story of Aquarius, we're going to get really metaphysical,
Mm,
okay?
do
So
it.
there's this idea by Carl Jung, of course, in Miracles talks about this,
Hmm.
the kind of collective conscience, Chrissy.
Yes.
So it's the notion that deep down, we are one another.
Hmm.
Just like you as a sunbeam and me as a sunbeam. Are we
Of
separate from the sun if we're both
No,
sunbeams? No.
course not.
You as your own individual and me as my own individual, we're not separate from each other. We are each other.
Hmm.
And so Aquarius is this idea which then says, you think that talking to your neighbor about Islamophobia isn't healing the collective?
Right.
Because it absolutely is. And
Yes.
because you're their neighbor, and because you also grew up in a post, 9/11 Islamophobic culture, you
Hmm.
better be the one in your zone of control and proximity to educate them, should you establish that trust, where you help
Right.
them understand that is not indicative of the totality of Islam, or
Right.
Muslims would denounce this regularly. Like you have a responsibility to that one person because that's what heals the entire collective. So
Right.
cut the bullshit with, oh, I'm not effective and powerful. Start
I know.
small. Because you also, if you don't start small, you can't scale. What, you think you're going to just have these sweeping changes in Congress and you can't even talk to your neighbor? Please,
I know.
please.
It's so true. It's so
Sorry.
it's
From
it's
one
so
cat
true.
food to another, you let it out, girl. You. Unleash my Capricorn placements. I gotta get out of here
I,
before I run my
I,
mouth into something I shouldn't. Go
I love it. Okay, should we talk about the remaining eclipses in Virgo
Oh,
and Pisces for
sure.
next year? And
Yes,
then we'll
yes,
do the
yes.
Venus retrograde.
Yes, love it. Yes. So actually, I want to, it'll probably come to me when I bring these up.
I can give you the dates.
But yeah, I have them here too. I'm just trying
Okay.
to remember something you said actually felt very Virgo Pisces.
Mm,
Yeah, but in true Pisces fashion, it's out of my mind.
let's escape.
So, all right, the last Virgo Pisces eclipses that we have this year, March 3rd, a lunar eclipse in Virgo, and
Mm-hmm.
then we have our another lunar eclipse in Pisces on August 28th
28.
and August 27th. So, Chrissy, the way that I understand Virgo Pisces now is
Mm-hmm.
just the integration of mind, body, spirit, health,
Mm-hmm.
and the small goals we can make in our routines, which are very Virgo, right? Embed
Mm-hmm.
in your routines the particular habits that help you somatically and psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
Small goals, though, even if it just means like my only resolution for 2025 was drink more water.
Great resolution.
I just
How have you been doing?
great. I know. I just got tested on hydration yesterday. I was
I mean, the
actually like,
skin is glowing,
uh,
so
it's the filter. No, it's my moisturizer. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you're a beauty expert. You didn't say that. So yeah, it was just small goals, drink more water, try to be more routine, to
Yeah.
be self. I think the beauty of Virgo, as the Virgin archetype, it talks about self-possession,
Mm-hmm.
meaning I take care of myself. I don't externalize that to you, nor do I get mad at you if I don't feel like I'm taking care of myself. I get to say, no, I can't go to dinner with you tonight. I bought a meal packaging service and I don't want
Right.
that. I don't want it to waste. So let me
Yeah.
just take care of me and eat my healthy food, right? That's very Virgo. So that we become the vessels, the containers for the Pisces truth, the great mysteries, the spiritual energy that can come into our vessel
Mm-hmm.
when we have a pretty clean mind body. And with Pisces, it's not routine, it's ritual. So the power of ritual is so underutilized, I think, in many spaces, because what it does is it allows us to contain, capture, and deliver us from particular things that maybe we need that sacred space for, right? That's
Yeah.
what funerals and weddings and birthdays, they're all rituals,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So having that now, especially in times of so much collective uncertainty, the Virgo Pisces axis would sit us all down and say, I
Mm-hmm.
understand it's the 11th hour, but it's not midnight yet. So please work on a small goals only approach to improve the mind body somatics. Bring some rituals once a month if you need to, a continued sacred space where you can bring grief, anguish, loss, whatever you need to do,
Mm-hmm.
because these are very serious times
Yeah.
and we need people seriously committed to their personal excellence because that's the only thing that is
Mm-hmm.
going to help meet this moment.
Absolutely. I know, and I wish, yeah, everyone could truly heed that message.
And there's so many valid reasons why they can't. I
I
mean, I
know.
just started going to the gym because I could finally afford a membership.
Fair.
So much of this is class issues.
I know.
The vast
That's
majority of
true.
Americans are just economically spent.
I
They're
know.
broke, they're angry, they're sad. So it's like, you want me to drink more water? I would just like to pay my rent on time?
Okay, so rounding out the year, I think this is the last major transit happening is the Venus retrograde in Libra.
Uh, always gonna Venus retrograde, right?
I
Yes.
know.
Happens. I think our reading was during one because it was right around your birthday, no?
Yes. Yeah, it
February.
was February.
Yeah, so it would have either been just before or just after. So yeah,
Yeah.
Venus retrogrades happen every 18 months.
Yep.
Very normal. And we bring what astrologer Jessica Lanyadoo calls the law of re's. So
Mm-hmm.
there, any verb that starts with re, research, return, re-examine,
Mm-hmm.
rethink, you get the
Mm-hmm.
idea, to whatever concepts the retrograde planet rules. So for this case, it's Venus retrograde. So we're bringing re-examination to relational
Relation.
intelligence.
Yep.
And I'll actually just leave it at that because, in
Mm,
terms of what Venus rules for this context, because
right.
what Libra teaches all of us, sometimes great, sometimes irresponsibly, but actually really great, is the quality of our life is determined by the quality of our relationships.
Yes.
And so often we feel, and I get it because of the state of the world, the economic injustice, right? Like, wait, so I got to work on my hydration, my finances, my physicality, and now you want me to
Mm-hmm.
read a book about how to relate to other people?
Mm.
Yes, because
Yep.
honestly, yeah, I know. Honestly, I'd like you to put that to the top of the list simply because the longest study into the investigation of adult development and adult health done by Harvard, it's called like the adult development study longitudinal since the 1930s. JFK was even one of the, that's how
Oh,
old
wow.
it is. Yeah, he was,
Wow.
when he was an undergrad, they even had him as a participant. And it's
Wow.
determined across almost 100 years worth of data. The quality of our relationship boosts our immune system,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
generates
I've heard
higher
that.
financial rewards, it advances us professionally. The partner
Mm-hmm.
we choose actually increases the likelihood of whether or not we're going to get sick.
Wow.
Yeah, because if our immune systems are compromised because I'm under cortisol because my partner is driving me nuts or I'm
Nuts.
driving him
Yeah.
nuts. Because it could
Right.
definitely be me. I'm no Principessa. I'm no walk in the park. You know, we're just gonna constantly be getting sick,
Yeah.
So that's what I would recommend for Venus retrograde is for each and every one of us to just say, all right. What on the level of relational intelligence is it greater repair skills? Is it because I think it's more, most people need to repair. We're all very boundaried and walled off. Okay, well, you're alone.
Right. And it's like, oh, you did this to me. Well, I'm gonna just write you off.
Yeah, right.
I can't understand that.
Honestly, I just want to record you and me pretending that we are only Capricorns. I will put our sunglasses on and just be like, that I can't even understand. And I'll change my voice. I'll match your tonality because you get more earth than I do, which I
Um,
appreciate. But
yeah.
yes, like it's those skills too. And even if it's something as simple as because Libra rules, I would say agreement making.
Right.
So a lot of us
Wow.
don't make requests, we just choose resentment. And
Yeah.
then we never get into agreement because I'm just silently resenting because I'm not actually requesting.
Yes.
But what I love about my Libras is they say, hey, Colin, I would really like to be more intentionally in touch with you. Are you free on Saturday to have a discussion? As opposed to them thinking I'm a mind reader and I know they want to be more intentional with conversation. I have no idea, right? So
Right.
those sorts of things will come up during Venus retrograde, I suspect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Um,
listening.
of course. Yeah, I even like recently said to a friend, I'm like, she's a therapist, so she can get very like overwhelmed at times by like anything that requires her emotional bandwidth or like, I
Yeah.
want to talk about therapy stuff like all the time. And so I feel like sometimes she'll hit her limit and she'll be like, I really don't feel like talking about therapy stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like she works it up to kind of be like a big deal in her mind, but I'm like, it's okay to just
Tell me.
ask for what you need. I'm like,
Chrissy, Chrissy,
just ask for what you need. That's okay. I literally
you
said that to
are
her, like, it's okay to just ask for what you need.
you are so Capricorn. I just saw my twin sister because she's obviously a Capricorn moon too. And when I'm like, Capricorn, I'm just really like, and I just
Right.
think
You're like,
she's like, you could just not come to dinner tonight. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. I just really need to be
yeah.
alone. And she's like, so then I'm going to invite you to take care of yourself here. I know. I love the way that you express Capricorn. It's something, honey. Something.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
love seeing myself through your eyes because it
Oh, I'm
feels
flattered. I'm
very
flattered.
affirming. Well, that's it for 2026.
Boom. You know what? Why don't we say one more thing just about the Mercury retrogrades, and then I
Oh,
swear I'll
sure.
zip it.
Yes, yes,
They're all in the
yes.
water signs in
Oh,
2026.
that's right.
So I thought
That's
that was interesting, right? Which is, we all have every year approximately 3 or 4 Mercury
right.
retrogrades that are very consistent. They were in fire in 2025, which maybe explains why people were like, well, myself included, especially right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Right now.
But in
Yep.
2026, they're in Cancer, excuse me, Pisces, Cancer, then
Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Mm.
So just learning about how do we sense, make, and language our emotions in ways that provide what it's taught in nonviolent communication,
Ugh,
windows,
I
not
love
walls.
that book so much.
Oh, do you? Of
I
course you
love
do.
nonviolent communication. I read it years
Yes.
ago. Shout out to one of my old therapists who told me about it, and I've recommended it to so many
Philosopher.
people.
Envy. I know. It's just again, imagine if we learned this instead of calculus.
Truly, I
Get
actually I think that is a huge I just think it's a huge problem in like our
oh,
educational system that we don't learn
every
anything
sense.
about like how the mind works, how to communicate better. It's a problem.
I also wonder if it's intentional, right? Because if people
Right.
aren't learning about the mind and how to communicate better, then we wouldn't demand more of our public education system in America.
Ooh. Yep.
But not to keep it political or anything, but yeah, that would be the only other thing I say. And honestly, I knew to the best of my capability that 2025 would sort of feel like this of
Right.
just like hurry up and wait. We had retrogrades for the first 6 months. I've
Yep.
never written horoscopes like this before. There would be like a bit of a crescendo in the spring, summer, mostly in the
Hmm.
summer, and then it would die down again. It was a 9 year numerology, so it's
Yep.
all about wrap ups and completions. 2026 is a 1 year. That Saturn
I
Neptune
know.
conjunction opens up February with extraordinary new beginnings. I'm really looking forward to it. I really am.
So cool. So exciting. So much
Yeah.
to look forward to.
Yes.
Colin, thank you so much for
Chrissy,
being here today. Thank you for your wisdom,
thank
all of
you.
your
Thank you for having
knowledge, your
me.
study. Like you are just such a brilliant person.
Oh, thank you. I'm so flattered by that. And thank you for allowing me to be with your readership and your community.
Yes.
I hope that this was helpful for them. And I'm sure we'll
Absolutely.
discuss the astrology again very soon.
Yes, we will. Talk
Hey, bye,
soon.
everybody. Happy 2026.